Hey, everybody. How you doing today? Welcome to Let's Talk About Things and Stuff. I'm your host, Matt Parker, your friendly neighborhood youth minister, and I've got, as always, my good friend Caitlin. Say hi, Caitlin.
Hey.
And today we've got a special guest. It's a treat for me to introduce JARON MOOTS.
What up?
You doing all right today, JARON?
I am.
Yeah,
a little tired, but
yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah, it is a good day.
It's a very good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So you
best one yet.
getting pretty good sleep lately?
Yeah, just a little sleep. Just a little. Yeah, Henry has been like waking up at like 6:30 to 7. So like, sun comes up, Henry's up, and he'll just like kind of sit on the side of the bed and like make noise, maybe crawl up on us, and so yeah, it's still sleeping, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Caitlin, you feeling well rested lately?
Not as of last night.
Oh yeah.
I made the poor decision, went to bed after midnight, and then I had to get up at 4:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Oh.
So-
You work early
So
on Tuesdays. Is that every day or just Tuesdays?
it's occasional Tuesdays. It's primarily just Tuesdays, but
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's tough. Yeah. I'm an early riser, but I'm not that early. Yeah.
I don't have much choice. So
All right. Well, Jaron, here's our question for you. Since you're the special guest, you're on the hot seat.
Okay.
If you were going to write a book,
Okay.
what would it be about, and what would it be called?
Okay. So you guys, most people know, and if you don't, that's all right. But I like to run. I'm a runner. I like to run distances of varying lengths. Outside. Do not put me on a treadmill. Ugh, no. But anyways, I like running outside. And I think it would probably be a book about like overcoming like things that you didn't think that you could get past specifically in running. But I think a lot of those things, like when you like say you're running 5 miles and then like, oh, I'm gonna run 7 miles for the first time, or oh man, I'm gonna run 10 miles, which 10 miles is far. Don't sleep on 10 miles, man.
No.
Try running 10 miles and tell me how you do. But it's like when you overcome those things, it's like, oh, this is awesome. I can do this. And when you learn to overcome things when you're running, it can, I think, help you set goals and overcome things in life even. Things that you didn't think you could do, or maybe you set a goal of like, oh man, I want to run 10 miles. Like sometimes we like overestimate how fast we can get to that goal. But maybe like if you just waited a little bit longer, you don't have to stop at 10 miles. Like if you keep training over time, like, oh, you're running 13 miles. Oh, you're running a marathon,
Mm-hmm.
So like we overestimate, oh, I want to run 10 miles in a week, and no, don't do that. Don't try it. But I don't know, it's kind of cool. You can learn a lot of like I don't know, like we were talking a bit earlier, like reaching benchmarks and breaking through those. And so
Breaking through benchmarks.
boom.
Yeah.
The bees, man.
Caitlin, what's the furthest you've run ever?
Oh,
not far at all.
Not far.
You've ran a mile in high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's respectable.
I've sped walk a 5K.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
I was required.
Think about that. 5,000 meters.
5,000.
5,000's a lot, man.
Huge. That's a lot.
Huge.
Huge. But like they always say that you like whenever you reach a certain point in your distance that you can like pretty much go forever. I've never found that to be true.
Wait,
like,
what?
I've always heard that like if you like reach like 8 or 9 miles, well then you can do 10.
Oh,
and if you can
yeah.
do 10, well, you can do 12.
Yeah.
You can do 12. Oh, you could do 23.6. No problem.
My brother ran a marathon, and I told him the exact same thing. He was like, he had pulled his hamstring on mile 9, and he was at mile 20 or something, or 22, I think. And it's like, he was like walking up hills and running down hills because he had a pulled hamstring. He'd been doing that for 13 miles.
That is
which is crazy.
Remarkable.
But
Yeah.
I was like, he wanted to finish. I was encouraging him. I was gonna run it, but my knee was bugging me. But he was struggling, so I jumped in there and ran with him. I stole my sister-in-law's shoes. She had running shoes on, and just jumped in there. I was like, dude, you've already ran 22 miles. What's another 4? Like 22 miles. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my mindset anytime I do distance running. So
Yeah. Well, I've never found that to be true. I can do up to like 7 miles if I'm training and do okay, but I've never gotten up to 10, comfortably or
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
kind of my deal.
Well.
So when you run, do you listen to music? Do you prefer that?
Yeah, music most of the time, but I do like to listen to audiobooks while I run. I run with the Nike Run app, and they have like the little coach in your ear, and I like that because they're like motivating you and giving you tips and stuff. And then like on the speed runs where it's a little bit more like run for this long. All right, now rest. All right, now you have 60 seconds of rest. All right, and they're kind of giving you what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But then there's like it's optional to have that. But
do they have music that like matches the pace that you're supposed to?
You can do like a playlist on Spotify or whatever, and like it's just kind of like it's just kind of like your generic like backbeat music or whatever.
Right.
And I like words because I like I like singing when I run sometimes, especially when they're easy runs. That's fun. But I do like to listen to audiobooks as well, and sometimes I like to push myself a little bit and even just like, I know this sounds weird, but I like to push myself and not listen to anything. Just put on the watch, the Garmin watch, and run. And it's kind of cool, like especially when I run early in the morning. It's like the cool of the day, not a lot of cars, not a lot of noise.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, and those turn into just like grateful and thankfulness runs of just like, oh God, thank you for that, or oh, I'm thankful for this person. Oh, I'm running. I wouldn't have ran if it wasn't for this person, or whatever. So yeah, things like that.
Caitlin, do you when you work out, do you listen to music?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. What's your playlist when you're doing like your pushing yourself kind of workout?
I find myself going for a more intense genre music. I don't know if there's.
Are you an acid rock kind of gal?
I don't know.
You know what acid rock is, or more like hip hop, like that kind of thing.
Well, for the songs that like. Because I use a Spotify recommended playlist that they've queued up for me. Because it's not bad. But
what's it titled?
Well, it's meant for running, but it's like some being faster paced music.
Oh.
It helps push me.
Oh, higher BPM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
good.
Right
on.
That's
anything that's like intense and like powerful with a beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like.
Yeah,
sometimes
I love it.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, what about you guys? What are you guys listening to right now? We would love to get a screenshot of your playlist, the thing that you're listening to most these days. Just go ahead and snap a screenshot, put it in the comments, or post it on your socials, whatever. Encourage each other with what new music you can introduce people to. And actually, I'd love to see what you're listening to also, because I love hearing new music.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
It's good.
Yeah. And speaking of music, let's talk about what we're consuming in the cultural arena. Jaron, what you got?
Somebody that I've been listening to a lot is a guy by the name of Patrick Droney. He's like the poor man's John Mayer. It's like you really like John Mayer, but like you can't afford him for some reason. You just go to Patrick Droney. He plays guitar. He's got long brown hair. Like not quite as Patrick Droney, I like you, but you're not quite as good looking as John Mayer. John Mayer's like 50 years old and he looks amazing. But he's really good. Would recommend. He's got some really cool songs, deep songs like talk about that, or Glitter, which is a song about grief and like it's difficult, and then a song called Guess That's Why I'm Calling. It's like about a breakup, but it's like if you like switched out the comparisons, like for like relationship comparisons to like God comparisons, you're like like it's a song about like praying to God. Like
nice.
But super good. If you like how I describe it is like he's kind of like rock, and I've grown to realize that I like rock a lot, but it's not like hardcore rock like Metallica or anything like that. It's like pretty boy rock. It's like I don't know. It's like a little bit more hardcore than John Mayer, like just a little. But I don't know. I guess I like guitar stuff and guitar solos, and that's the genre that fits that. So
Patrick Droney,
yeah,
love it. I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, super good.
Caitlin, what about you? What have you been consuming?
So it's not music that I'm discussing this week at least, but I watched all the games of week 2 of the NFL season.
Did you watch like all the games?
Every single
game?
I didn't watch every single minute, but I watched every single game.
How many teams are in the NFL right now? 34?
32.
32. So that would be the 16 games from Thursday to Monday.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's a lot of football.
I like football.
3 hours each.
I think I could do that maybe once. I think I would get a little tired of that, but I do like football.
If I'm doing something like when I'm watching football, I'm probably going to fall asleep at some point during the game.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing better than watching football with a bag of chips and a soda, falling asleep,
Dude, this Sunday,
and then waking up.
This Sunday, super close Chiefs game, and I'm out in the third quarter, man.
Me too.
Like I watched I watched the last quarter or whatever, and I'm like,
yeah.
I like the Chiefs. I'm just like, I like napping way better.
All right, so what's driving your NFL consumption?
I entered into the pot that goes through my dad's work, and so we just pick the winner of each game and we go week by week.
So it's not like a fantasy kind of
No.
football thing.
You're just like picking winners.
Picking winners.
Yeah, I've never done fantasy football. I've wanted to, but have never done it.
That's really close to straight up gambling on football.
Yeah.
With the pot.
You better watch out.
So how'd you do out of the 16 games? How
this week I ended up tied, I think, with 2 or 3 other people for second place.
Nice.
Well done.
So
right on.
I think I missed 3 or 4 games.
That's not
But I
too
got
bad.
one.
That's pretty good.
That's a good
pretty
percentage. You
That's
passed.
better than I would do.
You passed.
Yeah, that's right. That's B average.
Yeah.
Right there. That's pretty good.
That's what I aim for.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been listening to some new music. I heard about this artist Lizzie McAlpine, and came across her a couple of weeks ago. And speaking of John Mayer, she's like the female in my mind. She's like the female John Mayer. Like lots of acoustic guitar. Kind of, if it were a guy singing, it'd be kind of like falsetto, kind of, soft whisper voice kind of thing. Breathy voice, and I don't know if that's John Mayer or not. Probably not. But anyway,
a little sometimes.
But anyway, super jazzy and like my kind of not really rock, not the hard driving stuff, but not like sleeping music either.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of my thing. And I heard about it when I was listening to this deal on a trend going these days on having sad playlists.
Yeah.
So I looked it up on Spotify and like I just typed in the word sad on Spotify and like hundreds of playlists came up, and it was like I don't know if it's a cultural trend or whatnot, but it's like we want to have this sad music, and Lizzie McAlpine's all over a bunch of those, and it kind of fits the content of the songs and it's not really doesn't really fit in with sort of the more the popular kind of stuff that you might hear, because I mean it's pretty artistically done and really well done stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I've got a few playlists made out of from my Lizzie at McAlpine listening habit over the last few weeks, but
I don't know if it's sad, like if it's sad or if it's like I don't know whether to be sad about this or whether to like laugh at the fact that people are like seeking out like sad music. I guess it's more like I'm like, oh man, that's like I don't want to I don't wake up in the morning and be like, man, I just want to feel sad today.
I just want to feel sad.
Like that's not how I roll,
Okay. So do you reflect? Does your music reflect how you're feeling, or do you want to feel a certain way, so you seek out a certain kind of music?
It's yes, and like when I'm in a party, man, the music I feel defines the vibe of the party. Like
right.
I always am just like, I always defer to my wife for playlists, but her taste in music is way better than mine. But like I guess it's like when I'm feeling good, I listen to. So I think it goes both ways, but I don't know. I think it's the whole sad genre or whatever is just really interesting.
Yeah, I think it is. What about you? Do you like sad, moody music?
Sometimes I've definitely been in those situations. I even have my own, I call it in my feels. So just deep in your feelings.
Do you have a playlist titled "In My Feels"?
I think so.
Probably.
But I mean, sometimes it's like if I'm already in that mood, I just will sit in it, and I don't know, just how I'm processing those. It helps, or bring out those emotions
Sure.
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, I mean, like Jaron was saying, of like, at a party, you want to have good music to bring the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's similar to bringing, depending on.
Bringing the sad.
You're trying to magnify whatever the
Yes.
the vibe is. Okay.
Absolutely.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's
I'm
good.
learning. I'm learning a little bit today. I like this. I like it.
I like it. All right. So speaking of learning, all right.
Ooh,
So
okay.
so I was reading a thing this morning about a jet, an F-35 that the U.S. military lost last Thursday. I mean, just like a lot like.
Oh, we lost a plane.
How do
We
you
don't
lose
know
a
where it
plane?
is. Maybe it's wrecked. Maybe not. We'll just wait and see.
You said
It's like-
was it like $100 million plane? Like I don't even care. Like honestly, like I was saying earlier, like oh we lost a plane. Like not even just you lost a plane. Oh we just misplaced $100 million.
$100 million, right?
Sorry, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, right. It's just crazy. I mean, they found it eventually, but it was crashed and all this stuff. But like it just blows my mind. And I was thinking about this. Like they send these things off to war, kind of expecting that some of them are probably going to get shot down,
Sure.
right? Because it's war and you lose weapons. But
War things.
like war
War
things get
things.
shot down.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very
like
true.
how much are we willing to like risk in a battle, right? Like an F-35 is a flying $100 million thing. Like what is our acceptable losses here? Like I'm like
Yeah.
0.
Yeah,
Like, let's just keep those back. We're just gonna keep them in the hangar a
Yeah.
little bit. We're not really gonna risk that.
Yeah, right.
That's $100 million. That's $1/10 billion. I mean
Well-
that's more money than I expect I'll have passed through my hands in my entire life.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
rough. All right.
crazy.
But it got me thinking though about the most valuable thing I've ever lost or destroyed. So that's my question to you guys. What's the most valuable thing you've ever lost or destroyed?
Are we going like monetary value or like
Ooh,
sentimental?
That is a good question.
Because when you asked
It
that
is.
question, I first thought of something that was sentimental that I broke,
Mm.
but it wasn't necessarily a big like spending
Sure.
thing.
Like I've wrecked a car, and I've also ripped a pillowcase that was like 300 years old.
Whoa.
And like we were
300?
we were having a pillow fight, and it wasn't 300. That's hyperbole.
Okay. I was like,
But it was super old,
Okay.
like made in Switzerland,
Oh, wow.
handmade by my family's like ancestors or whatnot.
Shoot.
And I don't know, but
That's kinda cool.
but we were having a pillow fight, and there was a pillow with a pillowcase. So like right. So okay, so I suppose that pillowcase was probably more valuable, priceless, than the car that I wrecked.
Well,
Maybe. I don't know.
It
So
depends on the way you view it.
so you define it yourself. What do you think?
Well, the first thing I thought of was it was literally just a little bobblehead of a dog. And it was a gift from a mother and son that helped my grandpa out when he was having an episode literally on the side of the road. Because he had, I think, a couple strokes, and that led to him being hospitalized and him passing away. And so that was one thing I physically had left of him. And so through life and everything, I've dropped it a couple times, and so it's not in one piece anymore. And I have been emotional over it a couple times when that's happened. So
That's tough.
that's hard.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Huge. For real.
Yeah, seriously.
I
No, I
don't
think
know if I have anything like that. That's awesome. That's cool that you have something like that. Yeah.
that is really cool.
Yeah.
What's the most valuable thing for you?
I got like when I was like 20 or something like that, 19 or 20. It was like 19 and 20, like end of my 19th year of life, and beginning of my 20th. And because it was sometime, the first one was sometime in October. I got in a wreck, my first car that I ever owned, and then I got another car, and then wrecked that one in it was actually January 25th because it was my dad's birthday. So that was.
That's a good
Happy
birthday
birthday,
present.
Dad. Anyways, so that was in the span of like, what was that, 4 months, 5 months? So that was kind of
That's crazy.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, right.
But it wasn't $100 million. I'm not. I had a lot of nice cars. Not $100 million, everybody.
Right.
I'm winning still.
Yeah. Well, I've lost my wedding ring before, so going for sentimental value.
Yeah.
But I like turned everything I could inside out and spent every spare minute I had searching for it and eventually found it. That's happened twice now. I've wrecked several cars. I think I mentioned that before. But also, like, I had just gotten this Apple Watch, and I was really, it was like a gift for my birthday, and it was still fairly early in the Apple Watch trend. You can see now that I'm not wearing an Apple Watch right now, because like I was at the pool and I didn't want it to get messed up. Right, I didn't want to break it. I didn't want to get it too wet, and I'm sure they could handle some water, but I didn't want to risk it. So I was taking the watch off, and I was putting it in my backpack, and somehow it got bumped and it slipped out of my fingers, and 3 inches off the ground it landed right on the corner and like cracked all the way across the deal. And so this birthday present, this thing that I was like, yeah, this is like something that's really valuable to me, because this is like a status symbol. You know, this means I'm cool. I'm relevant now because I have an Apple Watch. It was basically destroyed, and it was like a week later. I got frustrated because it wasn't responding. It was still usable a little bit, but it wasn't responding, probably because it was cracked. And so I slapped it, and it went, and it was no longer usable. And that's when I realized that Apple Watches are not for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to go a little more rugged. All right, but what about you guys? What is the most valuable thing that you have ever lost or destroyed? I would love to read about it, or see a picture of it. You can post it in the comments. Also, post your comments and compliments in the feed, and don't forget to post your playlist that you're currently listening to in the comment section. And thanks for being here for Let's Talk About Things and Stuff, where we talk about things and also stuff. So we'll see you again next time.